some changes, of course, to his cabinet. So let's just recap what the president announced. The Home Affairs Department will now be led by Dr. Siyabonga Cwele, and the former Communications Minister Nomvula Mkonyane now moving to the Department of Environmental Affairs. Of course, that department was occupied by the late Edna Molewa. Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams is now the new Communications Minister. As you may have just seen, she's just been sworn in, of course, as the minister. And of course, the president also announcing that the Department of Communications and Telecommunications and Postal Services will now become one. This, of course, is to better align their plans as government, more so moving into the fourth industrial revolution. All right, so we will give you some political reactions. Of course, our colleagues out in Cape Town will talk to political parties about this particular announcement. Let me just welcome back my guest here in studio, Dumisani Hlophe. He, of course, is our SABC political editor. We also have Dr. Mazwe Majola. Welcome back. So it wasn't a major one, as you said, Dumisani, before, that he needs to play it very safe. It looks like that is what the president did.
Yes, yeah, I think that's what he did. Two things that he did in particular. One, it has been to play it safe, like we have said. And number two, it has been this, he gave us a hint of the possible restructuring of cabinet post 2019 elections. So all this whole talk about the restructuring of cabinet, now we can safely say that post the election, the cabinet is likely to be shrunk.
Yeah, there's
it will be smaller,
of course,
but
over
also
the size of
not
the cabinet.
simply shrinking it, but also in the manner that is structured to function systematically, it is likely to change. But I think, thirdly, Palace, I think he has opened himself for some serious criticism by the opposition, because the people that the opposition mainly expect to be moved have not necessarily been moved.
Yeah. But as you said, it's a very difficult one for him because he's got to please the ANC as well.
Yes, he had to strike, that balance. I think the biggest issue that he has probably done is to match the communications portfolio. The
removal of Minister Nomvula Mkonyane from the Communications Department, did you see that one coming?
I didn't see it coming, but obviously she has been struggling in this department. It's a very challenging department, and especially now the president has amalgamated communications, telecommunications and postal services. So she needed, or she wanted, a fresh blood there, someone who will come with positivity and vitality. However, I'm very disappointed. I think the president missed a golden opportunity to bring the whole country into his confidence here. This copy and paste mentality and macroscopic approach, I think really he has failed here, because I thought he will be very strong and courageous and think for the future. I thought now he will be saying, there are people I want to work with post 2019 elections, so that I know that he said obviously he would like to this reshuffle is premised on the mixture, or on experience, capability, gender, age.
Most importantly, generational mix. There have been concerns that there aren't, young people within cabinet, and the president, of course, announcing that he's looked into a whole range of issues, as you said, experience, capability, gender, generational mix. To Misano, we see Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, of course, coming into the cabinet, and she's considered as one of the rising stars within the ANC.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. She is considered one of the rising stars within the ANC, very vibrant and energetic. So I'm sure portfolios such as this one, they do require some bit of, new thinking. But let's not also forget one particular important part. Because in certain instances, we tend to focus so much on the individuals that get appointed and forget about the whole system. of governance. So in this particular case, you still have to ask yourself, regardless of who's being appointed into cabinet, what is the strength of the ANC at an organizational level to ensure that anyone who's put in those positions can perform, and it's held to account for one's performance. And is there some sort of, consequential leadership from the ruling party for non-performance and other problems? And I think when you look into this leadership, it's important also to reflect on to what extent is the mother body positioned and capacitated to hold its deployees accountable.
And many people have always been of the view that communications department and telecommunications and postal services really are, should be combined. The president, of course, announcing that, although we do know that, of course, this will only happen after the 2019 elections. Is this a wise move?
Look,
because you were saying to me, communications department is a very crucial department on its own.
True, but okay, here's the matter. In the recent past, if you look at organizational development, including government, by the way, and the way government is managed and led, many would have argued that you need the areas of specialization, like specific focus. So this is why at some point you could have had all of these related functions being separated simply because someone had made that argument that, you need people who are specialized in specific areas, such as, your postal services, telecommunications, that you needed a specific focus. But in the last 15 years or so to now, governments, how they operate throughout the world, they have changed drastically. Now they talk of integration and coordination. You need to find out in your process of leading a government what is aligned to what and what is integrated to what and how are these functions organized. So it makes sense for one to integrate these functions, but the question is, are there incentives that are created within that government system to ensure that you have got integrated work? And by the way, one of the challenges that the new minister is going to have with this amalgamated portfolio is that those that are in the bureaucratic leadership will start to question whether they are coming or going. And that affects how they perform on a day-to-day basis. So she will have to really work hard, to work on the human resource to make sure that they buy into the new vision and they work in a coordinated manner across the various elements of the portfolio. All
right, so she's going to have a lot of convincing to do to the stakeholders. I see you agree with Dumisani on that.
Absolutely. When you take over, especially the officials, there will be a lot of anxiety. They don't know who's going, who's coming. What she's going to do is she's going to bring new people. So the area of human relations will be key here to make sure that she pacifies and calms down the people, because you need performance now. We are going towards the election, so people will be judging ANC on performance, service delivery. People want to see that people who are placed there are really delivering and also are accountable in what they are doing.
All right.
But sorry to add balance. This also means that questions can be asked about the separation of the economic portfolio, because you have got the Department of Economic Development, small business as a separate entity, trade and industry. We can keep treasury because those are the custodians. But so if the president is taking this line of merging, departments according to their functions,
so those ones may be next.
Yes, possibly they are likely to be.
Because when we had, of course, those unconfirmed reports that there were departments that were going to be merged, many people were of the view that it will have to be your economic cluster department being merged. But as you said, we may see, of course, a number of departments being merged after the elections next year. So, Minister Siabonga Gwele, he was, of course, the Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services. He's now the Minister of Home Affairs. And really, the Department of Home Affairs was starting to sort of shape up, if one can say. So it's going to be a very should I say, an easy ride for him or a difficult one to take off from where Malusi Gigaba left off?
Well, what is important for any leader whenever he takes over a new department or a new position, a leader must announce himself or herself. You know, a leader must be able to identify those quick wins, the things that he or she will do, so that people can say, wow, here is the leader, here is the person we've been waiting for. So it's going to be very interesting for him to say that when he goes to Home Affairs, what is it that he can identify? Those 3 things or 5 things where he can say, I'm going to focus on this, so that people can say that the eagle has landed, now we are going to see changes or we are going to see things. Secondly, any leader or anyone who takes over from another person will focus on 3 things mainly. We can call it stop, start, and continue. What is it that as I'm taking over here, things that I'm going to cut, I'm going to stop, things that have been happening that are not necessary anymore? And what is it that are things that I need to start, initiate, things that were not there but I need to share so that people can see that at least there are new things that have been initiated, and what are those things that will continue, things that have been implemented and executed and have been doing things very well, working well, but that are need to not to be touched.
All right, I'm not even going to say anything about Bathabile Dlamini because both of you had agreed that she wasn't going to go anywhere. So earlier, our reporter Sipho Stierman spoke to the Minister of